But as we hope for the best, we urge the entire global sports community to continue to stay energized on her behalf. Because Brittany isn't just on the Phoenix Mercury. She isn't just a member of her team in Russia. She isn't just an Olympian. She's one of us, the team of athletes in this room tonight, and all over the world. A team that has nothing to do with politics or global conflict.
The more we say her name, the louder our voices will be.
The more we see her face, the closer we'll feel to her and her to us.
We cannot stop fighting for her. We cannot stop believing for her.
This is dramatic.
And we will not stop hoping for the day when we can welcome her home safely.
We are BG.
I mean, it's the most insufferable thing I've heard in quite some time.
Let me just say, I do think that it was a nice, their attempt was nice, and I definitely support efforts to get her home.
But
it was a little dramatic.
What are they doing? This is like every single actor alive saying, we got to do something, like the Russell Brand's character in Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
It's like the COVID Imagine.
Yes,
video.
It's the same thing. Like, okay, you're speaking out on this. We athletes need to stand together. Well, I don't know. How about Paul Whelan, the Marine who's been there since 2018? You're just going to speak up for Brittany Griner? Why? Because she's an athlete? She's better? Like, the way that they talked about it, we are athletes. We need to stick together and use our platform. And, okay, cool, you can use your platform, but I doubt that the Russians give the slightest bleep. They don't care. They don't care at all. Say her name? What is this? Are we talking about George Floyd and Breonna Taylor? Like, this is someone who went to Russia with weed in her suitcase and was, as one of them said, illegally detained. In Russia, it is illegal to carry that stuff in. I didn't make the laws there, but that's what happens when you go to a former communist country that's run by a bleeping dictator like Vladimir Putin. See her face? What is that going to do? Oh, we see pictures of her while she's in a Russian prison. What does that accomplish? If we see her face, we'll remember. That makes no sense. None. We'll be outraged seeing her behind bars. What are you fighting for? Are you fighting this feeling or something like that? To go back to REO Speedwagon at the beginning of the segment?
I think you can have empathy for Brittany Griner.
Yes, you can.
And her situation, while also acknowledging that there are gray areas and it is tricky because there are members of the U.S. military that have been there longer. She did technically break a law. It is a very complicated situation. It's not black and white.
You're right, but there are a lot of people last night, and Megan Rapinoe was one of the other ones too. They're up there, and I don't know, like, are they doing this for the gram? Like AOC pretending to have her hands handcuffed behind her back or something like that?
Sean, we have Tucker Carlson with us here today in studio.
What is happening? No, to circle back to it, it's everyone seemed to want to make like some sort of grand political statement at the ESPYs for the gram. And it's just more of one of the reasons that the average person thinks that award shows on TV for TV or for movies or for athletes, it just is another example of how, like, I have no connection with this person. This person lives in a totally different world. They're up here to essentially be seen, taking a stand, and they're not. They're just saying, like, it would be great if Brittany Griner came home, which, by the way, I agree with. I don't want any American to be suffering in a Russian prison. I don't. But I don't know. It just feels like we're athletes and she should be back. No, that's not how it should work. It should be everybody who was over there should be back. And it's not that easy. The way that you guys are talking about it makes it seem like if you guys just talk, the Russians are going to all of a sudden be like, yeah, you know what? We did want to have our arms dealer, Oleg Karasbluski or something like that. We did want him back, but you know what? Now that the athletes have spoken up, no, we don't want to do a prisoner exchange. We're just going to give Brittany Griner back. That's going to happen.
I think they want to keep the awareness out in the media. I think they want to keep the awareness of her situation and how dangerous it potentially could be. I do know that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris had talked to her wife. So obviously, thinking and praying for everybody that's detained in a Russia prison that's an American, because that's a very intense situation. Yeah. But yeah, I understand you are not a fan of politics in sports.
I mean, it's not even politics in sports.
It's politics in sports.
It's more
the definition of politics in sports.
I think it's more these guys are tone deaf, and I'm sorry. Stop making it seem like Brittany Griner is suffering some horrible crime against her. She isn't
scared. It's scary. She's in a Russian prison.
But I mean, it's accountability for her own actions. And
she had weed, Paul.
It's Russia. It's not the United States.
She made a mistake.
Right.
People make mistakes. I
and that's
agree.
how Russia handles
It is
them.
a very, very complicated situation. We've agreed on that. And there are other people that have been over there longer, like U.S. service members. It's not as black and white as some people say.
You could have
but
weed
you
and-
can have empathy for her.
Yes, I can.
And still admit that it's a complicated situation.
It's a complicated situation, and it could be like, say she was in Singapore or in Malaysia or something like that. I mean, she might be put to death for having weed. Like, it's different in other countries. You got to know it. And again, I feel bad for her, but it's her own. It's her own mistake. And these athletes are acting like there's this grave crime being done against her. Like, I guess I feel like there are worse things going on than that.